It's funny, someone asked me about why most of my video reflections are in my, while I'm in my car, in my vehicle. And just set the record straight, I don't drive while I'm doing these things. But I am starting to find that I'm hitting this interesting trigger every time I get in my vehicle, that there's something that, another idea, another thought, is rattling around in my brain. So I think there's something, for now it's positive, because I tend to find these pockets of time where I get in the car just before leaving work, or I pull in my driveway at home, which is funny, you know, because I think to myself, if I did that, what would my kids think, or my spouse think? And I was sitting on the car just kind of talking, I guess, just figure out doing FaceTime or something like that. So to that end, I don't drive while I'm doing this. You may see traffic flow by, but that's just, again, other people looking at me like, what's up with that guy? A couple times when I did it in a grocery store parking lot, I did have someone sort of stand by my window and kind of look in quickly. And I know, because I have the camera reversed, they probably thought, why is this guy talking to himself? But I do enough of that. I'm talking to myself right now, let's be honest, right? Okay, so something that I have some ideas about, this kind of centers around, I've been thinking about how often, so my portfolio, I've always been involved with guidance or student success, special education, something called personalized alternative education, and now I'm a step further into alternative education, where there's meetings that occur for students that come into my program, and often there's paperwork to be done, and there's questions to be asked and answered about the system. And I was getting kind of into my own head yesterday, thinking about how often the questions that are asked in these moments where, you know, it's you and, let's say, you and the parents, or you and the student, or you, the student and the parent and some of the other colleagues, where you're working on, within our board, something that could be kind of labeled as a student success approach. The questions that I find myself answering, I answer them openly. And again, it could be a question about the system, it could be a question about what to do next. And they're questions that kind of stem out of, let's say, the parents' care and concern for their child. Obviously, they want what's best. They want the best possible experience in the class, and they want the best possible educator working with their students. They want the best possible outcomes, as far as it could be the marks, it could be the projects, it could be that thing that they make. They want all this, and educators want the same thing. Where I sort of fit into this is that I often find myself answering questions about the system that, though I'm open and I share and I do the redirect, and here's a link and here's a person you can talk to, there's questions that come up again and again around trying to understand the system that makes me wonder how the messages aren't arriving with the questioners. And without doing, you know, too much detail on the types of questions, but I wonder about how is it that the parents can be sitting at, you know, in the meetings where the students are, if you're at some sort of a registration or intake meeting, as a parent, it's an important meeting. There's going to be things that you have to sign. There's going to be personal identification that has to be given. And in some of these meetings, you know, I wonder to myself, there's information that they would ask about, you know, the system, that I think to myself, how is it, how unfortunate it is, I'll reframe it, how unfortunate it is that you're asking this question now, because I've been enough, you know, the beginning assemblies at schools, and been in conversations, large group conversations about education, including parents, school council, and this information is freely given. And yet I'll be sitting at one of these meetings and a teacher will ask about, for example, a phone number of a high school or the principal's name. And it's not that I have any real issue with that question. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why that could not be remembered or accessed at that point, but it does make me think about just how the systems of information are organized at a school, and how that is kind of connected with the parents and the community. and sort of like, I don't know where I'm going exactly with this right now, but I'm kind of looking at some of a cluster of elements within school that inhibit flow. And part of this came out of me reading Dan Pink's book on drive and motivation, and it's not specifically about motivation, I don't want to go there, but he mentioned a term called I think it was either functional fixedness. I think it was functional fixedness, and it's sort of like the idea that you can't move off of what the concept of this thing is. You know, my son is a great example. He'll grab his spoon and fork or his knife and fork and he'll start tapping on the table. So he's not bound by the idea that these are utensils that he should be using for eating. He's going to use it as a drum set. And I think as you sort of get older and you learn more, that type of functional fixedness starts to become more reinforced. And in order for systems to be efficient, I think that gets reinforced. And I think in order to communicate information within the system, that becomes reinforced. So the current system, for some reason, is not moving necessary information into the hands of some of its stakeholders or its participants, as in the parents are part of the community. So where I go with this is trying to position myself and my thinking in a place where at what points within the school system is the classroom experience kind of harmonized with the student experience and the parent experience and the community abroad. How does flow look in not only the sort of, let's say, the classroom, the individual case, but in the larger case? And I really, I think part of my purpose in my current programming is to share that information. It is to say, here's someone you could talk to. Here's a connection that you can make with someone that I think may not help you now, could help you in the future. Here's a name, here's an email, here's a Twitter address, here's an office number. So right now, new thought, big thought, don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm a little bit fascinated with that concept of flow and really looking towards the macro. The micro in the class, I think that we have, all of us as teachers, as parents, as students, any of the staff members that are part of a school, micro moments of flow where it's just clicking and everything's moving along. But I want to start to look at macro, and I want to see the school as a system, education, our board as a system. What does flow look like there? And it's really kind of loose right now, and this is going to probably be a multiple post. I haven't done one of those things yet. So I guess for now, we'll just call this one flow number 1. All right, that's where my brain is right now.